Today I'm getting creative with my acrylic paints, my inks and a couple of new tools to me to create some fun mixed media cards. I'm also getting creative with the new Catherine Porter Designs birthday candle bundle. I'm showing you a few different cards creating with these supplies. I'm Verity and welcome to my channel Pretty Little Button. If you're new here, I make paper crafting tutorials for the everyday crafter. Okay, so let's take a look at the release. So this features the scribbled background stamp, which is a rubber stamp, which stamps beautifully. This is great for creating some textures in your cards. We then got the It's Time to Party sentiment stamp set and party word die. So that party cuts out the individual letters as well as a shadow layer. And then we've got a Make-A-Wish stamp set and coordinating die set. So this has a couple of sentiments, then it has a variety of different candle designs as well as the flames which spell out happy birthday. So for the first couple of cards I'm going to be creating a sort of mixed media style card with my acrylic paints, and I'm also using a couple of new products to me, so a jelly plate and a brayer. Now this is the first time of myself using this product, so I'm no way by near an expert in it. I'm just going to share some of my tips along the way when I was creating. So I'm putting some acrylic paint down onto my gel plate. Now I was going to use some dye inks, but I wasn't sure whether it would stain the jelly plate. Now it will stain the jelly plate because it's dye, and I wasn't quite ready for it to lose its pristine look. So I'm not quite that into the mixed media yet that I can let things go that easily. So I'm just applying some acrylic paint because this is water-based. This will wash off the surface and it will clean clear. Then I'm using a brayer to smooth out and apply the paint all over the actual plate. Now I did find that I didn't put enough paint down, which was a bit of a learning curve. So I go back in and add some more, and then I use my brayer in a side to side motion to smooth it and blend it all out. Now this is a large brayer. I'll have the size of my brayers that I'm using in today's video linked in the description box below. But I decided to go in with a smaller brayer just to really blend those colours a bit more. I'm going to use this in combination with the scribble background, and instead of actually stamping the design, I'm going to use the stamp to take off the paint on my gel plate. So then I can then print the rest of the jelly plate, and I'll have sort of where the scribbled background is as more of a negative area of the stamp. I'm just cleaning off my brayer just to make sure that the paint doesn't dry on it. But again, as I say, it's water-based, so it will clean off if you have left it by accident. I've got a piece of Nina Classic Crest Solar White here, just pressing that down, and then I'm just smoothing it over the top with one hand keeping it in place whilst I'm using the other hand to smooth it over. And I'm doing this quite liberally with a lot of pressure because I want the paint to transfer. And then this was my peel and reveal to show that beautiful design. And obviously this is going to give you a much more mixed media look, so you're not going to get a pristine look. Now I thought I had videoed this, but I hadn't. I applied the ink in the same way, but I just did it in more of a vertical, so I was going from purple to dark blue to light horizontally. And again, I've done exactly the same process. Just placed the stamp down, held it in place for a bit to transfer it, and then once I've done that, I can place a piece of card over the top. Now, I wasn't quick enough to then stamp the actual paint that was on the background stamp onto another card, because I kind of put it to one side whilst I was doing this, and the paint dried because it was a very thin layer of paint. And you will find acrylic paint dries quickly. So in future, if I was going to do this, I'd probably just, as soon as I took the stamp off, stamp it down onto a piece of card so I've got that as another background. So that was using my jelly plate to create these mixed media backgrounds. For this one, what I'm going to do is use my dye inks and the brayer itself to create a very abstract background. So I'm using the smaller brayer out of the two that I have, and I'm just rolling it in the ink pad to get a really good generous coat of ink on the brayer. I'm then just going directly to the paper and I am just rolling this on. Now, because it's a small brayer, I will need to keep applying the ink. And then all I'm going to do is just keep doing that and layering the colour up and allowing some of the ink to overlap one another. You'll get that abstract look. So that was Fiesta Blue. And then I'm going to go in with Suede Shoot. So I'm using a couple of colours from the Party collection, so we're getting that bright, vibrant look to the card. And the last colour I'm going in with is Grape Crush. Again, I'm just overlapping the colours to give it a bit of interest. So that was the first card panel, and then I'm doing a similar thing, but I'm just rotating it. So I'm going, again, because this is a smaller brayer, it does fade out the colour towards the top, but I just keep applying the ink until I'm happy with the look. I then go in with the suede shoe, so I don't put any Grape Crush on this one. And as you can see, if you don't allow the ink to coat the whole of the brayer, you'll get a more patchy look, which again can add a different look and texture to it. Now, these are really light, but I just wanted to add a little bit more interest. So I got out my gold acrylic paint. And what I'm doing is I'm just applying it to one of the Catherine Paula card inserts. Now, this is what the scribble background came on, and it is coated in a plastic coating, so it's non-porous. So you can add paint onto it and then you can wipe it off. And I'm using it as a paint palette for my brayer to pick up that gold paint. And I'm just applying it liberally all over the place, but I'm not looking for a perfectly opaque look because I want it to be a bit patchy. I want it to give that abstract look to it. And it really just adds a little bit more of an extra element because it really catches in the light. I'm going to show you the finished products of the cards later on in the video, but I'm just showing you how I am colouring candles for this card. So I've die cut the candles out of black cardstock using the coordinating dies from the Make-A-Wish die set. Now you can cut them and stamp the actual candle designs that come in the stamp set in those candles, die cuts, or you can just use the die cut to cut out the candles in any colour cardstock you would like your candles to be in. I did it black because I was kind of going for a sort of bit of a masculine, young teenager kind of style vibe with all of these cards. And then I'm just adding some embossing ink to the bottom of the candles using the direct to paper method, smooshing the ink down and covering it with Wow metallic gold rich embossing powder. Of course, I'm using my heat gun to set it. Now, because these are candles quite fiddly, to do several of them in one go, all I did was add some temporary adhesive to a strip of scrap cardstock, then added the candles onto that temporary adhesive. And this gave me something to hold several of them all in one go to be able to add the ink, add the powder, and then heat emboss them all in one go. So it speeds up your crafting time. Now I'm just adding them to the background here, and I'm using a bit of foam tape to add a bit of dimension. But I have stamped the flames that come in the stamp set, the ones that spell out happy birthday, so you don't need to add an additional stamp set. And I'm just positioning the candles beneath the flames in sort of the direction the flames are coming from, and I am using a bit of foam tape just to add a bit of dimension to them. So I turned all of these cards into a background, and this one is the most simple background, but adding all that detail with those candles. For this one, I used the party word die. Now, I die cut the word party out of the shadow die, so I just have the word party peeping through. And then I added a heat embossed Life is a Party from the It's Time to Party stamp set. This one, again, I added the word party. This time I layered up the word party to create dimension and put Let's Party on. These sentiments are great for slimline cards because they're really big and bold ones, so they suit the bigger style card. For the middle card, I then added, again, another party, but I just added some black embossing to the bottom of that party word die and just finished it off by adding the word Let's Party. So these are some really great masculine abstract cards. Somebody that doesn't like a lot of bling, doesn't like a lot of fussiness, glitter, florals. These are great for those cards. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below what are you most excited about with the new Catherine Paula release. You'll find a list of products used in today's video in the description box below, as well as over on my blog. Until next time, happy crafting!